Welcome back. I am your host, Susanna May O'Hagan, and today we will be talking about Bob Crane. That's right, Bob Crane. He was an actor. I've never seen a show. I've only seen clips because my dog loves old TV shows, so I'm stuck watching them. Maybe one day I'll watch this. Bob Crane. Edward Robert Crane, July 13th, 1923 to June 29, 1978, was an American actor, drummer, radio personality, disc jockey, known for starring in the CBS sitcom Hogan's Heroes. Crane was a drummer from age 11 and began his entertainment career as a radio personality, beginning in New York and later in Connecticut. He then moved to Los Angeles, where he hosted the #1 rated morning radio show. In the early 1960s, Crane moved into acting, eventually landing the lead role of Colonel Robert Hogan in Hogan's Heroes. My last name is not Hogan, it is O'Hagan. Hagen with an Hagan, not an O. Not related to anyone. Well, we could be, but it's Hagen, not Hogan. The series aired from 1965 to 1971, and Crane received 2 Emmy Award nominations. Crane's career declined after Hogan's Heroes. He became frustrated with the few roles that he was being offered and began performing in diner theater. In 1975, he returned to television with the CBS series The Bob Crane Show. But the series received poor ratings and was canceled after 13 weeks. Afterward, Crane returned to performing in dinner theater and also appeared in occasional guest spots on television. Crane was found bludgeoned to death. Yes, if you don't know, Bob Crane was murdered, we think. So, yeah, just a heads up. Or hurt. It's a very... We'll read. Crane was found bludgeoned to death in his Scottsdale, Arizona apartment while on tour in June 1978 for a dinner theater production of Beginner's Luck. In the 1990s, his friend, John Henry Carpenter, was tried for the murder but was acquitted. The case remains unofficially unsolved. Crane's previous controversial public image suffered due to the suspicious nature of his death and posthumous relations about his personal life. Bob Crane was born in Waterbury, Connecticut, the younger of 2 sons to Rosemary and Okay, I had to wipe my glasses. That's better. Alfred Thomas Crane. The original spelling of the family's name was Crean. Crane spent his childhood and teenage years in Stanford. Crane began playing drums at the age of 11, and by junior high was organizing local drum and bugle? What's a bugle? I think I know what a bugle was, but we don't really play with bugles anymore. With his neighborhood friends, he joined his high school orchestra and its marching and jazz band. Crane also played for the Connecticut Newark Symphony Orchestra as part of their youth orchestra program. He graduated from Stanford High School in 1946. 2 years later, he enlisted for 2 years in the Connecticut Army National Guard and was honorably discharged in 1950. The previous year, he married his high school sweetheart, I want to say Anne Terrazin. The couple had 3 children, Robert David, Deborah Ann, and Karen Leslie. Poor Karen. That name has not aged well. In 1950, early career, Crane began his career in the radio broadcasting at WLEA in Harlem, New York. He soon moved to Connecticut station WBIS in Bristol and then WICC Lick in Bridgeport, a 1,000-watt operation with a single converting the northern eastern portion of the New York metropolitan area. In 1956, Crane was hired by CBS Radio to host the morning show at its West Coast flagship KNX in Los Angeles, partly to re-energize that station's ratings and partly to halt his, I want to say, erosion of suburban ratings at WBC. Nope, let me try again. WCBS in New York City. In Los Angeles, Crane filled the broadcast with sly wit, drumming, and such greats as Marilyn Moore, Frank Stern, and Bob Hope. His show quickly topped the morning ratings with adult listeners, and he became king of the Los Angeles airways. I feel like radio was bigger back then than it is now. It's still a thing, but not as big, I don't think. Crane's acting ambition led to guest hosting for John Carson on the daytime game show Who Do You Trust? And the appearance on Twilight Zone, Channing Alfredo Hitchcock Presents and General Electric Theater. After Carl Reiner appeared on his radio show, Crane pursued Reiner to book him for a guest appearance on the Dick Van Dyke Show. He is still alive, interestingly enough. The Donna Reed Show. After seeing Crane's performance on the Dick Van Dyke Show, Donna Reed offered him a guest spot on her program, ABC's The Donna Reed Show. After the success of the episode, Crane's character, Dr. David Kelsey, was incorporated into the show's storyline, and Crane became a regular cast member. Beginning with the episode Friends and Neighbors, Crane continued to work full-time at KNX during his stint on the Donna Reed Show, running back and forth from the KNX studio at Columbine Square to Columbine Studio. He left the show in December 1964. Hogan's Heroes, 1965 to 1971. In 1965, Crane was offered the starring role in a CBS television sitcom set in the World War II POW camp. Hogan's Heroes involved the sabotage and something mission of Allied soldiers led by Colonel Robert Hogan. From under the nose of the obvious Germans guarding them. The show was an immediate ratings hit, finishing the top 10 in its first year. The series lasted for 6 seasons on CBS, and Crane was nominated for an Emmy Award in 1966 and 1967. After having a love affair with Hogan's Hero co-star Cynthia Lynn, the actress who played Helga, Crane became romantically involved in 1968 with Lynn's replacement Patricia Olson, who played Hilda under the stage name Sigari Valdes. Crane divorced Terrace in 1970, just before their 21st anniversary, and married Olson on the set of the show later that year, with series co-star Richard Dawson serving as best man. The couple's son, Robert Scotty Crane, was born in 1971, and they later adopted a daughter, Anne Marie. I'm giving that look because Anna, May, Anne Marie, Susanna, May, kind of like funny. Anyway, let's continue. Crane's son Robert David later alleged that Crane was not the biological father of any of Olson's children. When they were married in 1970, Olson was already pregnant, but Crane had a vasectomy in 1968. While he was still married to, I'm just going to call her T, Crane and Olson separated in 1977 and were mere weeks away from finalizing their divorce at the time of Crane's death in June 1978. Now here's the thing. All of this, like before, most of this is just basic personal life stuff. We're going to get to some pretty weird things. If you want to exit, please do so now. If you don't know this already about Crane. Okay, let's get to it and do it. After Hogan's Heroes, in 1968, Crane and Hogan co-star Warner Kelper Leon John appeared with Elker in a feature film, The Wicked Dreams of Paula, set in the divided city of Berlin during the Cold War. In 1969, Crane starred with Abby Dalton in a dinner theater production of, I want to say, Cactus Flower. Following the cancellation of Hogan's Heroes in 1971, Crane appeared in two Disney films, Superdad, 1973, in the little role, and a smaller role in Gus, 1976. In 1973, Crane purchased the rights to the comedy play by Beginner's Luck and began touring it as its star and director at the Showboat Dinner Theater in St. Petersburg, Florida, the Lee Maria Civil Theater in California, the Windmill Diner Theater in Scottsdale, Arizona, and the dinner theater around the country. Between theater engagements, Crane guest starred in a number of television shows, including Policewoman, Gibsonville, Corky, Kanky, Emmy, and The Love Boat. Oh, I've heard of The Love Boat. Some of these I've never heard of. In 1975, he returned to television with his own series, The Bob Crane Show, on NBC, which was canceled after 13 episodes. Jeez. In early 1978, Crane taped a travel documentary in Hawaii and recorded an appearance on the Canadian afternoon cooking show Celebrity Cooks. Neither aired in the U.S. after his death the following June. His appearance on Celebrity Cooks was broadcast on CBC television first time beginning in 1978 and was dramatized in the biopic from Autofocus. Claims that Crane had been distraught during the taping and had made inappropriate jokes about death and sex have been denied by the show's producers and production staff, who have stated that taping would have stopped on their episode canceled anything inappropriate had been said. I will try not to say word for word because I don't want to get in trouble. Private life and murder. Crane frequently videotaped and photographed his own the tango escapades during the run of Hogan. Dawson introduced Crane to John Henry Carpenter, a religion salesman for Sunny Electronics, who often helped famous clients with their video equipment. Oh boy. The two men struck up a friendship and began visiting bars and clubs together. Crane attracted many women due to his celebrity. Scott later invested that all of the women were aware of the taping and consented to it. Oh boy, this is getting really bad. But several claimed that they had no idea that they had been recorded. Oh boy. Until they were informed by Scottsdale police after Crane's murder. During their friendship, Carpenter became national sales manager as the Customer Electronics Company, AKAI, and arranged his business trips to coincide with Crane's touring schedule, allowing the two to continue their tango encounters. Yeah, I'm not saying what it says here because no. In June 1978, Crane was living in the Winterfield Place apartment in Scottsdale during a run of beginner's luck at the Windmill Diner Theater. On the afternoon of June 29th, his co-star Victoria Ann Barry entered his apartment after he failed to show up for a lunch meeting and discovered his body. Crane had been bludgeoned to death with a weapon that was never identified, though investigators believe it to be a camera tripod. An electrical cord had been... Oh my gosh. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say this. So we'll just, there, and there. Crane's funeral was held on July 5th, 1978 at St. Paul's, the Apostle Catholic Church in Westwood, Los Angeles. An estimate of 200 family members and friends attending, including John, Austin, Patty, Carla, pallbearers including Hogan, producer Edward, co-star Robert, Larry, Crane's son Scotty, who was in Oakwood Memorial Park Cemetery in Cosworth, California. Olson later had his son remains located to Westwood's Village Memorial Park in Westwood, and she was buried beside him in 2007 under her stage name. Investigation. Scottsdale police had no homicide division in 1978. Oh boy, that's even worse. So it was a little equipped to handle such a high-profile murder investigation. The crime scene yielded few clues, no evidence was found of forced entry, and nothing of value was missing. Detectives examined Crane's extensive tape collection, which led them to Carpenter, who had flown to Phoenix. Yeah, that doesn't look good. On June 25th to spend a few days with Crane. Carpenter's rental car was impounded and searched. Several blood smears were found that matched Crane's blood type. No one else of that blood type was known to have been in the car, including Carpenter. DNA testing was not yet available, and the county attorney declined to file charges. In 1990, Scottsdale police investigated Barry, and Meeker County Attorney Office investigated Jim, re-examined the evidence from 1978, and pressured the county attorney to report the case. DNA testing was inconclusive on the blood found in Carpenter's rental car, but Raines did discover an evidence photograph of the car's interior that appeared to show a piece of brain tissue. Yay. The actual tissue samples recovered from the car had been lost, but an Arizona judge ruled that the new evidence was admissible. In June 1992, Carpenter was arrested and charged with Crane's murder. We might have to do part 2 because there's a lot to this story, a lot more than I thought there was. Oh, sorry, I gotta yawn. We'll do part 2. This is part 1. I hope you all are enjoying this kind of content. I hope we all learned something from this, and oh my gosh, I'm so glad that DNA testing is helping older cases. We will do part 2, so stick around for that. Hope you all have a great and wonderful day. Bye for now.